Welcome to Paradelphia Radio. This is Rick Pruitt once again here in my home during the COVID apocalypse. And we are live worldwide on Facebook, on Twitter, on... let me bring on our esteemed producer, Mike. He can explain where we're live. Where are we live tonight, Mike?
We're also on YouTube. We haven't been able to get the Paradelphia YouTube up, but we are on Toxic Radio YouTube, which is youtube.com/playittoxic.
All right.
So we are over there as well. And once we put this up in podcast form, we spread our wings even further. We're everywhere. We're on Stitcher Radio, on the Toxic Radio app. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes, and anywhere else you get your podcast. That's where you're going to find it, and you'll be able to go and get all the past episodes.
So much like that girl in high school, we get around.
We get around, and we spread very, very far.
All right. So tonight we are kicking off. I guess last week we kicked off our spooky Halloween season, but we are continuing tonight. We have an interview that I did a little earlier this week with a great guest. It was a lady that she reached out to us, and we were more than happy to give her a spot on the show here because she really is one of the better known psychic mediums out there. Her name is Patti Negri, and if that name sounds familiar, you probably know her because you've seen her on Ghost Adventures. You may have seen her on other shows like Master Chef, and she's worked with people like Chevy Chase and Sylvester Stallone and Jon Voight and a lot of these stars out in Hollywood. She lives out there, and she's just done so many different things. And she gave us some of her time earlier in the week, and we did an interview with her, and it turned out really, really cool. So we're going to get to that in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael, you mentioned something before the show that I don't want to pass this up because it's probably going to be forgotten in the Halloween season.
Yes.
But apparently there was quite the hullabaloo last week about a quote UFO sighting up in northern New Jersey.
Yes.
During the last Monday Night Football game.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear anything about this. I literally had a friend of mine text me joking like, hey, because they know me as the paranormal guy now. So, hey, right. Did you see this? Anytime there's a goofy story about werewolves or whatever. And I didn't know what he was talking about. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And I had to look up the story, and I must have had my head in the sand all week because I didn't hear it. But apparently the Goodyear blimp that was going to the Monday Night Football game at the Meadowlands last week was mistaken for a UFO by like thousands of people.
Yeah, so it was the Goodyear blimp, and I'm looking at video, and we have it right here of it, and it looks way more like the Goodyear blimp than the pictures I was seeing. And I think we got some audio. There we go.
Look, the whole street is fucking stopped.
The cars were stopping.
Flying spaceship. Yo, look at that.
So,
I mean, it is 2020. Like, any other year you might go, whatever. But now, like, oh, shit, they're here.
It was a spectacle to be had. Like, people were getting out of their car on the highway
right,
just to look at this thing because they were they were floored. They were dumbfounded. They didn't know what to make of it. But, yes, like you said, I mean, this picture right here, it looks like it, but yeah, it was the Goodyear blimp. I
mean, in a still shot, yeah, I guess it does because it's kind of blurry. Like, I get it, I understand. But I mean, if you're sitting there and you see it in the sky, like you would think that maybe, and you knew there was a game. That's the other thing. Like, it wasn't a secret that there was a Monday Night Football game a few miles away.
Yeah, and here's kind of a picture side by side of the actual. Let me make it a little bit bigger of the Goodyear blimp next to
It's the blue light. The scrolling blue light is what really gets it.
Exactly. Wah 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 wah. Right. Stop traffic and all. It was crazy.
So that happened. So I just
that was a thing.
Wanted to throw that out there because it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's waste no more time here. Let's get to our interview that we had this week with Patti Negri. Again, very lovely lady, and she is going to talk all about her career and doing all kinds of spirit work and energy work. And I think you guys are going to enjoy this. So we'll be back on the flip side of this. But for now, let's go to the tape, Mike. All right. Well, tonight we have a very special guest with us. You guys may know her if you've been watching any kind of paranormal television or reading any kind of metaphysical books for the last quite a few years. She has been all over the place. She is known as the Good Witch, best known for her recurring role in Travel Channel's #1 show Ghost Adventures, as well as Master Chef, Beverly Hills Pawn, and Jeff Lewis's Flipping Out. She's a renowned Hollywood psychic who has traveled the world leading haunted tours and seances. Her new podcast, called The Witching Hour with Patti Negri, is a fan favorite, and she has graced numerous magazine covers, written over 20 books, and conducted seances on radio, film, and TV. She's worked with legends in the film industry, such as Jon Voight, Sylvester Stallone, Chevy Chase, Gregory Hines, just to name a few. Her newest book is called Old World Magic for the Modern World: Tips, Tricks, and Techniques to Balance, Empower, and Create a Life You Love. And that has received rave reviews. And after all that, Patti Negri, welcome to Paradelphia.
Thank you so much. I am happy to be here in Paradelphia. Thank you for that intro, Rick. Thank you.
I've been doing this about 7 years now, and that is truly one of the most impressive intros or bios I've ever come across on guests we've had on the show.
That's what happens when you've been around 100 years. It's like, you just keep adding to it. I know the press kit from the publicist is like, should it be 900 pages? I don't, whatever. I'm a Libra. I'm from the school. More is better. So
yeah. We're going to try and touch on as much of what you've done in your career as we can tonight. I don't want to keep you here for 5 hours because that's how long it would take, honestly, to go through all the stuff you have done. It's impressive. And, I just want to give our listeners and viewers a chance to get to know you and get to know what you do. And more importantly, I and my listeners would be interested in your opinions on this stuff. Anything from readings and past lives and spell work and energy work and all that stuff. We talk about that quite a bit on the show and have over the years. And it's always interesting to get someone on the show who has experience in multiple aspects of, well, I guess what we consider the quote unquote paranormal. Because you're going to have a view on this from a lot of different vantage points. And your opinion after seeing all this stuff over the years, it holds sway. I mean, it really does. So I know that you, this all started for you when you were very young. You started, I believe, having psychic visions or seeing spirits when you were very, very, maybe 8 years old or younger. Younger than that. Yeah. And now, first off, like what was the story behind that? How did that all begin? And more importantly, maybe even than that, how did that affect your life at the time? Like, you were a child, so you obviously had a family life and you had school and you had friends. How did all that affect you?
Well, I just thought it was normal. Honestly, I've been seeing and talking to spirits since as long as I could remember. When I was 3 or 4 years old, I knew the guy in the closet I talked to was real. The creaturey thing under the bed was real. All those imaginary friends little kids have, I think often are real. I think kids really do have the sight, and it gets taught out of us in our very non-mystical modern Western society. Even our religion isn't very spiritual or mystical anymore. And
right.
That's your imagination. There's your imaginary friend. Not so much. They're giving me real information of things that's provable and doable. And I just thought everybody could. I was always had this like almost obsession with the dead and talking to the dead. It wasn't dark or morbid or anything like that. I just wanted to talk to them. So that's when I was 7 or 8, and I just had to have a seance. Didn't even know what it was. Didn't even know any dead people. I'm like, but I went in my little suburban normal home hallway where there's no windows and lights and stuffed towels under the doors. And again, realized I didn't know dead people. So I'm like, Marilyn Monroe and John Kennedy. I mean, this is the late 60s. Who you knew was dead.
Right.
And came up with my first chant and all this stuff that's just kind of in me, I think, in all of us. And all of a sudden, my windowless, lightless little hallway filled with orbs and lights and shadows and spirits flying around this little hallway. And I'm sitting here with my best little girlfriend, Sherry Jones. We went screaming out of the house But inside, I was jumping up and down for joy. Yes, this is real. And as much as it was real, because I knew it was real, it was controllable. It was controllable.
Did she see that too? Your friend?
Yeah, she did. She totally saw that too.
Okay.
I think she shut it down after that. But, you know, and she's all far away. But no, and the energy that I see, again, to me, it is just, it's nature, it's natural. And I've spent my life studying cosmologies, philosophy, science, occult science, metaphysics, religion, to take it down to the energy that I see, no matter what set of words you put on top of it. There's a through line of truth that's no matter what set of words or religion you put on top of it. So that's what I've studied my whole life. So it really is controllable. How to lift the veil, close the veil, talk, shut it down, not let in dark things, you know.
Right. Now, do you think that you had that happen when you had your first seance because of something that was inside of you that isn't necessarily as developed in other people?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all have it to an extent, some more than others. Like anybody can learn to play the piano. We could all take piano lessons. I wasn't so good. But a few people can become concert pianists, or those people who were born without lessons and can play. I think we all have an intuition. We all have instinct that got very taught out of us so often. And we all have the sight, but it gets taught out of us. But beyond that, I really have the blood, even on that witchy magical side of things. I would find myself in my, again, little suburban, average American backyard, just knowing if I pick some rosemary off the bushes and I put that rosemary bushes in my mom's purse, that would give her more money. I just knew it. I just knew it.
So you didn't read about this. You didn't study or anything. It came naturally, intuitively.
Yeah. And then I spent the rest of my life studying it. Yeah. But no, it just is in us. Again, I think it's part of that, how, you know, animals and kids know how to take care of, animals know how to birth their babies and do everything else in raising them. I think humans had a lot more of it before modern society took over.
So why do you think, in your opinion, that you had this gift? Was it something that was carried over from like a former life, or is this just something that maybe for some other reason you developed?
I think maybe a former life, because I know who I was in my last life, which I started everything a skeptic, like, yeah, right. But again, she wasn't necessarily a big spiritual, but she was a very magical person. But I think I got it from both sides of my family. My dad's side, they came from Turkey, and they were like the Sephardic, Jewish, Spanish, Turkish thing, and kind of this old mysticism, except my grandfather was this very famous philosophical psychoanalyst, philosopher, this big Hollywood following, and he was practically evangelical, atheist, humanist. So anything spiritual, religious, to him was just a weakness in itself. So I wasn't raised with any kind of God or spirituality. It was just like, I almost thought it was a dirty word. I was like 13 until I was brave enough to ask if I can go to church. I would pass a church or a temple or a synagogue or a mosque, and I'd see the energy in it. And I'd want to go in to see what that magic was. And I didn't know why we didn't do stuff like that. And at 13, I remember I wanted to see some really cute Christian rock band or something. And I said, can I go to church? I mean, I would have felt safer going, can I go to a rave? My mom's like, you can do anything you want. And I'm like, thus I became a speaker and went to all of them my whole life and go, there's the through line. But anyway, so my dad, this very philosophical, that side, where I read my grandfather's books now, right. And even though his words are completely academic, completely scientific, we believe so much of the same from my little book. It's just completely different words. It's like a different template that you put on top to use the same roadmap. It's amazing to me. So that's my dad's side. And my mom's side, she's got that English, Irish, oh yeah, grandma always knew who was going to die. Oh yeah, grandma's dead mother always would stick with it. And my mom was just matter of fact, that's just what goes in the family. Like, even though she hadn't developed it herself, she just became that typical, 1960s, 70s mom. So I think I got it in the blood from both sides.
Right. Hey! Now you, there's a book, Old World Magic, in the modern world. Now you you touch on many different aspects of paranormal. I keep using the quotes because I don't know what else to call it.
I use
I guess
quotes all the time. I walk around doing like this all the time.
The esoteric, whatever you want to call it. But you've touched on many different aspects of this, from crystals and healing to spirit work to past lives to psychic readings, you name it. Do you think that all of that stuff is compartmentalized, or is there a through line? Is there something that connects all of that together that we're just not seeing?
I think it's very much a through line. Again, it doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to be New Age in crystallese, or I'm going to be Old Age pagan in crystallese, or I'm going to work with the more shamanic Native American and tree spirits. I think all of it are just tools for us to use. In my working with people for all these years, my one-on-one stuff, my teaching, what I noticed about us humans is we give our power away. All the time. We give our power away to other people. We give our power away to very limiting belief systems, whether we created them or somebody else gave them to. We give away our power to fear. We give away our power to our own insecurities and self-doubt. And again, this weird way I see energy, I go, oh, but just a shift of your vision, like a half inch this way, it's a whole new view. And if you just tweak that a little bit, so I will use anything that will get us there. If it's crystals, if it's herbs, if it's oils, if it's going into your past life, if it's going into the Akashic records, to me, it's all there. It's all real. And it's just which template you're going to use.
Right.
To grab your power back. We are amazing, Rick. We are divine beings, and most people believe that we are of God, whatever way you want to use that. We are divine beings. And on top of that, we were given free will. Do you know how awesome that is? It's not like, we just have to follow a path. We have free will. We can create with our life whatever we want to do. And I did my life that I should be dead or in a wheelchair and all that stuff. And I kind of went, I'm not going to go for that. And I haven't been sick a day in 30 years at all.
Right.
And we have that power. I'm not special. I am no more special than anybody listening, anybody in the planet. I just changed my perception.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up because we talk a lot on this show about I'm kind of like Missouri. I'm the show me state. I like to hear about all this stuff, but at the end of the day, it's all about, okay, give me some kind of actual scientific proof behind what you're saying, because people can say anything and it's a hard sell to me and to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But there are aspects of what you do every day and these topics that has come in the last few years to fruition scientifically. Specifically, there was I'm not sure if you've ever heard of the double slit experiment, where it was proven scientifically that matter is actually dependent on observation. In short, it was an experiment where there was a particle that was shot through a slit in, I guess it was cardboard or something, and it either went through as a wave or a particle. And what it went through and landed on the board behind it as depended wholly on whether or not it was being observed.
Wow.
So that is, on a quantum level, that is proof of observational bias as far as, creating your own universe. Now, even though that's out there and that is scientifically proven, you would think that you could ramp that up into the real world, into tangible objects. But again, that's, it's a hard sell when it comes to that kind of stuff. Go ahead.
No, I think it's coming together, though. I think science and spirituality are going, and they're the same thing with quantum work, exactly with quantum work. Right. And they're going to, again, it's energy. I take it down to energy, whether you want to call it God or spirits or dragons or fairies or just plain science, which is proven. I think they're coming together. Even if I'm on Ghost Adventures, what I have been seeing for my whole life, and again, I'm not a technical person. Mo's got dowsing rods, that's it. All of a sudden, I'm doing this TV show with this fancy equipment, and I will be explaining. it's dancing like this on the right side of you. It's going like this. And I'm just seeing it in my head or in the literal there or there. And now for the first time, last few years, in another room on something called an SLS camera, where you see dancing little spirits going like this and doing the exact thing that I'm talking about. It is like, I've never seen anybody see that before. So, and again, that's looking at ghost equipment and paranormal equipment, but it's doing that exact thing. It's yes. And I didn't see what that was doing. Nobody could be controlling anybody. It's crazy. And I think on that same note, that energy, this is weird. It's getting into everything. It's getting into our cell phones. It's getting into our Alexas and our Googles. And I don't even think it's AI. I think it's spirits and energy, whatever you want to call them, are learning to talk through this without it being ghost radar on it. I got a call last month from my husband's best friend. Call from David Coleman. Mm-hmm. He's been dead 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Dead 5 years. Call from David Coleman. I tried to call that number, disconnected.
So you heard a voice, or you just had a phone call come through from a number you recognized?
From David Coleman. It said call from David Coleman. He said call from David Coleman. And something happened with the same thing with the Google in my phone the other day. Mm-hmm. We were talking about something, all these things like this that are happening with computers and this and that. And my phone was sitting over there. I was talking to a neighbor through socially distanced door. And I said, I was so sorry, blah, blah, blah. And that person goes, I am so sorry, blah, blah, blah. And I was talking about not artificial intelligence, because I don't think it's AI, I think. And my phone literally goes, I'm sorry too.
Wow.
I didn't say, hey, Google, or hey, anything like that.
Right.
So cool.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've had stuff like that happen around here. I mean, my wife and I, the house I'm living in was my grandparents' house for years. So it's been in the family for 50 years. It's very familiar to me, and it's one of those things where just weird stuff happens. Just not over the top stuff, not anything evil or nasty. It's just kind of weird, almost playful stuff. Yeah. But it's also inexplicable, you know. And it's just, you kind of look at it and go, man, what? But it's frustrating too, because stuff like that happens, and you're like, okay, well, even if I buy this, like, let's say I buy this is happening, what's the point you're trying to get across? Like, you know, one of the things I remember is we had a dog cage that was locked, and we were both in the room, looked over, neither one of us left the room, looked over, and there was a cup in the middle of the dog cage. Now, we didn't put it there. We were both in the room. We cannot figure out how that happened. This was years ago. Like something like that, like, wow, this is crazy, but what is that supposed to mean?
What
you know?
What if it doesn't mean anything? What if it's just fun? Not everything we do. We have a 24-hour day. We go to work, we do this, and a lot of things have meaning. Some things don't have meaning. I think in the spirit world, whether it's ghosts and spirits or elementals, I think sometimes they can do just things for the fun of it too. Sometimes there is a meaning, whether it's just to wake you up or cause you to think. I have a spirit in my house. She used to own this house. My house is 1920s. She bought it in the 60s. She died in 98. My husband and I moved in 2001, complete with a ghost, because her artwork was here. She was an artist. She was French. Her macrame was here, her pottery, everything that she had made. And she was here. She takes pictures out of frames, completely inexplicable. She loves roses. She will shoot roses out of a bouquet. I got married here because we wanted to renovate the house. She was shooting roses out of the bouquet, and people who had known her from the neighborhood say, oh, that's Adrienne. She likes roses. Matter of fact. And I don't know that there's always purpose to it. Sometimes I think it just has fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you refer to yourself as a good witch. And I understand that is because you are positive in your workings with nature and with the elements and things.
Yeah.
Do you ever have you ever come across a situation where what you were trying to fix or remedy was caused by a bad witch? And how did you handle that?
I've had a few, I mean, rarely, again, because you create a world that you live in. Like, why would I send out curses? Because then you live in a world where curses exist and you could be cursed. Mm-hmm. So again, I'm pretty protected because I've created this world. And I do like the word good over white witch, because that means so many things. And it's multicolored, but good. Besides the fact that I watched a lot of Wizard of Oz, I love Glenda, and I do have a great big pink fluffy dress. I do. I have the crown. I haven't showed up in a bubble yet, but no, I think we create the world that we live in, and to do this work, I do believe that you have to have a sense of ethics. You have to have a sense of moral code. You have to have no right and wrong. And if you don't, you shouldn't do this kind of work. But if you do know right and wrong, and shouldn't do it, then you could do magic. I've had a few crazy things happen. Calling in dark spirits. I've literally had somebody burst into flames during a seance.
Oh my God.
That's pretty weird. I was at Marilyn Manson's house, but I mean, 4 cameras, 2 of them caught it. It was like, that was scary. I have, as far as bad witch, I'm good at putting up barriers that without sending things back if need. I don't think in life I've ever gotten to witch wars or bad witch, but Zach right there on the screen, he loves to put me up against a not bad witch, but a dark witch, Lady Snake, this girl in the UK, twice now. He's done that to me. It's funny. The first time we were shooting he flew me to Vegas. I never know anything. They don't tell me anything. There's no whispers of, oh, there was a murder in this room. Nothing.
Right.
They don't want me to know. So he's blindfolded, put me into the museum. I didn't know anybody else was there. And he put me in this little cabin, and I just kind of stream of consciousness. Okay, over here, there's a little girl. And it was the Voodoo Queen Bloody Mary and this doll. And I was kind of seeing that. I go, oh, there's somebody on the floor in a mirror. And Father Sebastian, the vampire, was on the floor. And I'm seeing all this stuff, and I'm just stream of consciousness. And he'd run in because I would be matching up on things. But then he goes, Patty, come with me. Okay. So we're running through the dark halls, which you have to get used to. And he opens this door, and then there's this room. And there's this cute little tiny, unassuming, middle-aged woman, English woman, looks so sweet, like you want to go have tea with her. And she wanted to kill me. She had a shovel in her hand. Energetically, I have never been in such a strong, negative, life or death, evil spot from this little, and I'm like, what? And she's doing her thing. I'm doing my thing. I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
Right.
And so we did our little thing. Who are you? Well, who are you? I had no idea. And she was a witch who will work in the dark where I won't. I'm not even judgmental about it because everything has a place for everything. But I didn't know until I saw that on TV. The spell she was doing and the place he had brought me was Ed Gein's cauldron. That's the serial killer who used to cook and eat people in there. She was bringing him up. No wonder she was so dark, so blah. It was him. It was her. So I can't even judge her by that, but it was the weirdest thing. And I'm like, okay. And I was literally watching it on TV a month or two later going, dang him. No one told me that was Ed Gein's cauldron ever, not even afterwards. We were whisked away. And then last year, we were doing the 4-hour live special, which funny, ghosts don't know break for commercial.
Right.
They go, we have to break for commercial. And then the world blows up. So it was really hard. It was funny. But anyway, I was in seventh heaven, not just being on the show, but everybody got to be there. I'm like, why am I here? I was a kid in a candy store. Chris Fleming was there. Joshua Warren, Bill Chappell, Gary Galka, Justin Spurrier, Michael Martin. It's like, Josh Gates. And I'm like, I'm with all these people. I was just like fangirling out. But we all knew each other was there. We were in the same hotel. We were in the same like green room area waiting, hanging out until it was our turn to get in because we didn't get to know what was going on in there.
Right.
So again, these couple days there, all of a sudden my turn to go in and Zach's like, hey, Patty, will you come down into the basement? There's somebody I want you to meet. I'm like, okay. So going down and at that time, nobody got to the basement. That was horrible. Go down. We're going down this thing. No one's allowed in. There she is again, Lady Snake. He had kept her from all of us just to keep her from me. She didn't get to stay in the same hotel with us. She didn't get to be in the room. I don't know where they kept her in a trunk somewhere, but it was hysterical. And the same thing is like, I'm doing my thing. I'm stomping around, changing the energy. Zach's jumping all over. And she was doing some kind of stuff that kind of messed up even, I believe, the production of it. Because Zach, he loves to play with the, loves to dance with the devil. He wants to see the big scary thing that he could face on. So he's willing to let somebody like that do that. And he's still a good guy and brings in light, but he wants to face that. But I don't think he quite realized that what she was doing was actually causing more chaos than, ooh, here's a good scary creature for you to face. It was causing these black oozy things. Chris Fleming saw him too. I saw him causing chaos with even in the shoot. So I don't think he quite got that. But I mean, he had to go to long lengths to keep everybody from knowing she was there. Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you mentioned how you were in this situation and you kind of fangirled out with the the famous people around you, and I know that you have worked with I mentioned it in your bio at the beginning of the show, many famous people, Sylvester Stallone, Gregory Hines, Jon Voight, all these people. Do you find that working with those people, and I'm going to try to think of how to ask this question correctly because I know what I want to say, but it's kind of a weird question. The people that are well known like that, world famous, do you tend to find that they are affected by their fame? And I don't mean like normally affected, like on a day-to-day basis, but I mean on a psychic level, because there's so many people that know them and maybe they wish them well or wish them harm or like them or don't like them or whatever. Like, it's like, I imagine it would be like a psychic tug of war with all these people that know them.
Yeah.
Is there something different about people that have that level of fame?
There truly, truly is. And it is a magic about them. It is a magic about them, whether it's the psychic thing or spiritual thing, there's an energy force. And most of them, honestly, 99% of them are the sweetest people you would ever meet. Sweetest people and humble and good. Even some that put on their attitudes when they're just good, regular people. They're as insecure as everybody, but there is something about them, like dialing it up, that got them there. Cause it's not easy. I mean, 100,000 billion zillion people come to Hollywood every day to find their fame. And it's the drop of a water on the whole planet that can do it. Right. And there's the occasional, wow, that shouldn't have happened, or fluke. But as a rule, when you meet them, you go, I understand why you're a star or a movie star or a sports star or whatever. It's a vibrational level they have. And it's, again, usually they're beautiful, highly evolved, really good people. And yes, it affects them both negative and positive. Again, I think most keep their ego in check fine. You have to have a strong ego. You do, because you have to know you're good or you're going to be insecure and not be good. Right. But you can't get I'm better than anybody, because then you start to fall. But so it is weird. Even my little level of, Z level, whatever, I walk into a grocery store and people know who I am. It's like, huh? What? Shopping for watermelon. Or walking down Hollywood Boulevard and a group of Italians, Europe, that shows a bit. It's like, Patti, who are you? But so you do get that, and it's kind of fun. And then on the other hand, it's like, oh, but I just want to hide. But you also get, sadly, what's weird is that also for all the great accolades that people get, there's also those haters out there. So you have to have a thick skin. You sort of have to have a thick skin too to be that, because no matter what, if somebody seems perfect, the Brad Pitt, the Jennifer, the who, there's always somebody. They're not really nothing. It's like you got to see that's
right.
But there is something, and I think Hollywood is right where Hollywood is because it's an energy center too. Right, I live literally right under the Hollywood sign, right in the Hollywood Hills. Right, Griffith Park is right there in the middle of the city. We have a huge park, and there is an energy vortex there, and it's halfway in between Hollywood and Burbank, the two media centers where all the studios are. That it just emotes this energy. It's not marked. There's no sign there, but every time I go there, I feel it. There'll be nuns praying, or lovers kissing, or people practicing. It just draws in the creative. I honestly think that vortex and some in the hills there made Hollywood right where it is, not 50 miles this way or 50 miles that way. And it drew in the creatives, the dreamers, and the spiritual, the writers, the actors, the musicians, the dancers, and just within a mile of my house, I have a monastery, a Vedanta center, a Theosophy center. I've got like 8 big major things in the middle of Hollywood. So it's that same right brain creative, whether they took it into being a movie star or a rock star or a nun at Vedanta. I understand right where we are is why we're here. And some people can't handle that energy. It's like they either think, oh, it's too fast paced or it's the urban thing of Hollywood. But I don't think it's that at all. I think it's the energy. Some people thrive on it and some people are repelled by it.
Right, right. Now, your new book talks a lot about something called practical magic.
Yes.
What exactly is practical magic?
Practical magic is using magic, not like hocusy pocusy, do, and you're going to turn you into a frog. But practical magic, my best practical magic is the reason I even started the book, again, because I saw people give away their power all the time, give away their power. And we're also in this modernity out of balance. So a really good way, everybody says, well, you're stressed. You in modern time. Again, now we're living in this crazy 2020 world. Everybody's stressed. Everybody's anxiety. Everybody's this. People are on drugs for that. And I went, all they need to do is hug a tree. Wait. And the way I see energy, I'm a big believer in that mind, body, spirit theory. I mean, 20,000 books are written about it, even somewhat mind, body, spirit. It's like the psychology section, the self-help section, the new age section, the pagan section. We understand. We'll never surpass our own thought pattern. Never. We get that. It's going to be easy. Now it's going to be easier. I'll never make it. You probably won't. We create that. We understand the mind. Body, we get that mind, body. I want to be healthier. I'll eat better. I'll exercise. But because 1 out of 3 is wishful thinking. I wish I was famous. 2 out of 3 is hit or miss. 3 out of 3 is always a home run, unless you're trying to break the law of physics, like you want to fly without a plane or be a foot taller. Look at you, healing hands. Yes. So anyway, in the way I see, I mostly our issue is getting out of balance. So I work elementally in my elemental magic system. So I tell people, okay, you don't have time to meditate for an hour and you don't want to take on these drugs. Put your whole body into the 4 basic elements: air, fire, water, earth. Easy. Your earth is your grounding, who you are, your persona, it's your home. That's your earth. We got that. Your fire, that's your passion, creativity, love, sex, God, art. We understand that too. That's your north and south. This is who you are, your persona and your fire. But where we get off balance in the compass that I'm working is this, because balance, like an airplane going like this, west and east and west. West is our water element. It's our emotions. We are 60% water. Our planet's 70% water. Just has to flow. And our air to the east, that's our thinking brain. That's our focus. That's our clarity. That's our sense of organization and logic. So if our whole body, our whole persona is air, fire, water, earth, it's who we are. Our persona, our passion, our emotions, and our thoughts. And where do we usually get off balance? Our emotions and our thoughts. What do we need more than anything else to survive? Water and air and water. So I took it back that, okay, if mind, body, spirit is always a home run and you don't have time to meditate for an hour because I'm really busy. And so if say you're not feeling really good, this is perfect practical. You're just not as happy as you could be. Everybody alive should be happy no matter what their situation, because you're alive. So tomorrow you could change it. So, but you're not as happy, or you're not as productive, or even you're not as conscious. We've gotten too much. We don't want anything by rote, phoned in, asleep at the wheel, automatic pilot. No, wake up. So again, so you're not as happy or conscious. So instead of staying there or numbing out or taking drugs or watching TV or eating or shop, all those things we do to numb it, just go, which element is out of balance right now? Is it my emotions? Oh, that's water. That's my water. Run your hands underwater, mind, body, spirit. Set it up, find a sink, find a drinking fountain, find a hose. Think how good you feel after a shower, right? That's only 1 or 2 of the 3. Mind, you're setting it. Hands, body, you're running underwater. The water itself is the touchstone. Within 30 seconds, you will healthfully release that angst or fear or anger, whatever you have. And it's not stuff it into your jaw or stuff it into your shoulders. You've truly released it. And so no, okay, maybe it's not your emotions, it's your head. You got the chatty head. Nobody breathes good anymore. So we all overthink because breath is air. It's our air element. So it's like maybe you have an important conversation, or you got your radio show and you're just chatty or foggy. We all have hormones like I can't think straight, and you've got to be at your best. That's your air element. Breathe. And in addition to make it a 30-second fix, so you don't have to go do big breathing exercises, I work with a lot of sound magic. Sound music soothes us. People do chimes and bells, but Heka work is our voice sound. Every sound we make actually has an effect on us. Vowels, consonants, form and function. But without giving everybody a lesson in Hecas they don't want. Vowels clear the head, period. Vowels clear the head. Any vowel, any order. Think about it. Every sacred word really is a vowel. Amen. Om. Falling in love. Ah. Roller coaster. Ah. Native American. Hey. India. Ya. It opens up this crown of illumination. So if you've got chatty brain or foggy brain, or you've got to focus, you've got to test, you've got something, you need to be your best. Mind, body, spirit. Okay. Whether you're talking to the element of air, or you're talking to your brain, or you're talking to God, with this 30 seconds of deep breathing, with this 30 seconds of vowels, I need to call in the air element, the focus, the clarity. So you could sit in your car, you can go sit in the ladies' or men's room, sit at your desk going, ah, or om, or E-I-E-I-O with your kid. Within 30 seconds, the chatter in your head will begin to lift, the fog will begin to lift, and the clarity will come in. That easy. Same thing with grounding. Hug a tree if you cannot feeling grounded. You can't hug a tree. Grab a pencil if you're on the 35th floor. A wooden shelf, a granite countertop. Mind, body, spirit. You grab those together, you get grounded. Fire, if you can't dance around a bonfire, like my first choice always, the Heka for that, to get, maybe you have a hot date for your honey and you're not feeling it, or maybe your spiritual practice, that's the fire too, or artist creative process and you're not feeling it, or maybe you're just tired, you got all the earth in the world but you got to get up and go and you're not feeling it. The Heka for fire is Z. Zzz. Asking a kid, what does a bee sound like? Zzz. So mind, body, spirit. So whether you're going, okay, Holy Spirit, or okay, the breath of a dragon, or Pele volcano, the beating heart of my blood, fire, with 30 seconds of Z, I need to pull in the fire element. Zzz. Within 30 seconds, you will feel a tingling in the base of your spine. It'll start to rise up your spinal cord, and you will begin to have the fire, passion, creativity, energy, whatever you need. That is practical magic, using it for simple, easy purpose. I've got put a glass of water by the side of your bed to develop your psychic gifts. I have, again, I spent more time unwriting this book than writing it to keep it really simple, because when I started, 400 years ago, I'd buy these big fancy books and they'd sit on the shelf. I'd buy a simple book by like Scott Cunningham or something and I'd devour it. So I after I wrote it, I go, get rid of half the words. And so it's just this little hand too. In the bathroom, the little drop of salt in the toilet, you will release your anger and things. Carve something on your soap. Easy every day. You don't have to be a witch. You don't have to be a psychic. You don't have to be spiritual. It's just working with nature's elements. Practical magic.
Very
to help
interesting.
your day-to-day life.
All right. Very interesting. Now, I know you've done some kind of some charm work in your career. Is there something that you can tell the listeners that they can do very simply to help with the energy in their home, whether it's putting something into their home as a talisman, or just something maybe they can do in their own way to do their own sort of energy work?
Yeah, two things I would say. Again, there's even house clearing, personal clearing, protection techniques in the book, and a million other places. There's 1,000 good techniques. Just find one that works for you. As far as a talisman or symbol or sigil, I wear them all. I will wear a cross, a Star of David, a pentagram, an ankh, and this. But my most powerful protective, it's called a helm of awe, or helm of Awe. It's an 8-sided. Nobody's going to see it here. Is that it? It's an 8-sided. That's not it. It's an 8-sided. Nobody's going to see it. It's in the book. It's this. It's an 8-sided cross with a little Neptune trident on the end. It's got 21 points. It's like sacred geometry. Energy goes in and shoots it out all directions. I don't go on a TV show, that's a scary thing, without wearing this. I have one of these on a Post-it note under my welcome mat. It keeps out ghosts and burglars. Kids are having bad dreams. Draw one of these. Put it under their pillow or under their mattress. You have an active mirror, because active mirrors are portals and in your house. And if you're having activity, draw it on the mirror or on the back of the mirror. Put it with a little cascarilla powder or something, or even use that squirty Windex that's foamy, and then draw it with your fingers. And then when you wipe it off, you've still shut it down. So as far as A1 sigil, that's just not religious, not going to conflict with any belief system. It's just sacred, shoots it out, the helm of awe or helm of awe way. And also remembering, if you're clearing your house or blessing your house, always remember counterclockwise gets rid of things. It's clears. It's starwise. Say if you are saging your house or doing whatever, counterclockwise to let go. Or if you're stirring your kids' oatmeal, and you're angsty, or your kids and they're angsty, go counterclockwise to release energy. And then you want to fill it back up, you go clockwise, sunwise. It's science. It's always to look at mystical, but it's actually working off gravity and things. So if after you clear it with the sage, now you're going to go clockwise with a sweet incense or carrying a candle through. I'm bringing in the light. Now I'm bringing in love. Now I'm bringing in abundance. Now I'm bringing in all these different things. So counterclockwise to release, clockwise to add. Again, whether you're making oatmeal for your kid or you're clearing your house or doing a spell working with a mill working and some herbs into a thing. And again, it all is going to go down to science and gravity or mysticism, all the same.
Right. And you said it was the helm of Alway, right?
Yeah. AWE.
I think I found this here. I'm going to try and pop this up on the screen if I can.
Yes. Look at that. And you could buy one for $2 somewhere.
There you go.
Look at that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Helm of Alway. So anybody that wants to know what that looks like.
Yeah, you could draw. And there's like 21 points. I've seen somebody explain the whatever to it, but it doesn't matter. It works. Energy goes in through that center and shoots it out in all directions. And it's the most protective, clearing, amazing little thing. And again, it's not going to conflict with religion or belief systems or anything like that. It's just energy.
Right. Now, we have a lot of listeners that, and myself included, definitely, because my wife and I have many, many pets in our home. They are animal and dog lovers, pet lovers. What is your opinion of that in terms of energy work? Do pets and animals bring a certain kind of energy into a home when you bring them into your home?
Completely. It's love and in the momentness and real time. I've my entire life, I've had every kind of animal, dogs, cats, guinea pigs, birds, fish. I'm right now down to one cat because my beloved dachshund passed in February and my cat's sister passed. So, and we have one senior left. We're not quite to getting the new one, but they bring so much love and energy. Plus, if you want to get into the paranormal and you have some spirit walk in, they're the first to know. They have the sights, cats and dogs, but cats really, it's like, hello, you see, they're great indicators, and they just bring in love. So it's like so many older people should have them to just give them love, and they just emote it. It's beautiful. And now I have 2 ghost animals and a living animal because they still hang out. Like, oh, hello, Dora.
Does that happen often? Do you find that animals, like we've just had 2 that passed away at the beginning of summer that we've had for years, and my wife and I were devastated. Still are, really. Yeah. Is that something that you find when you do readings, that you oftentimes have animals that'll hang out in the house they lived in?
Yeah, especially with seances and stuff, when I'm literally opening the veil and inviting in their beloved loved ones. Some of the first ones to come in are animals, and it's like, okay, who had the 3-legged Rottweiler that wore pink polka bow? Because they're here, and people will actually feel them under the table. And I bet you and your wife, if you pay attention to it, you notice them at besides the little in the peripheral vision in the eye, the beloved pets, they will come when you least expect it. When you're like maybe sitting at your computer or sitting watching TV or having dinner, and you go, whoa, that was fluffy. Or you feel something feels like what your cat's tail used to do, or your dog's, or you hear something by them. They hang out.
Right. It's interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. And we've had that happen a few times over the years. We definitely feel it every now and then. So now you also are involved with something called Brain Brew Entertainment. What exactly is that? It's a type of entertainment show. You produce shows and stuff, right?
Yeah, that's my company. I've had it for over 20 years. I don't have much time for it anymore, but again, coming from a theatrical background, coming improv and sketch, I started this company, I guess 20 years ago, doing live production shows. Again, I've come from a theatrical background, and interactive shows where we'd be very corporate too, where I'd be hired by Microsoft or Mattel to teach ethics to oil men via song and dance extravaganza, or an interactive scavenger hunt across the Greek Isles, or
Right.
teaching new policy to the HR department, or motivational things. And instead of just in a dry presentation, we do it as a game show, or as a murder mystery, or as a song and dance extravaganza, kind of like Saturday Night Live, but teaching real policy along these sketch comedies, full musicians, full everything. But I don't do it as much now. I still have my company, my actors. I had somebody doing a job last week. But in 2008, when the big crash happened, the big economic crash, all of a sudden corporate entertainment became a dirty word. That's me. Yeah, corporate entertainment became this, like, because people were abusing it and, buying hookers for $50 million and saying it was corporate entertainment. It's like, no, we're teaching motivation to oil men. Here's my big show. But it just kind of crashed. But before that, I kept this weirdy stuff very private, because I'm like, this is corporate. They cannot know I talk to dead people and I dance around bonfires wearing a cloak. They just could not. I'm very corporate world. So I kept that separate. All of a sudden in 2008, when the crash happened and my jobs went, hello, hello, hello. And reality television was taking a rise.
Yeah.
I'd already been an actress and done dancing and acting, but somebody knew my ability with seances. I'd always been this person and done this person, but very private. They go, oh my God, we need this seance. We have to have somebody who's legit, who can do it and open the veil for the seance for this TV show. I'm like, nope, won't do it. Can't do it. This is my career. Can't do it. They go, oh, please, please, please. No, I can't. Okay, what's the show? Well, it's called Mobile Home Disaster, and it's on country music television. I'm like, nobody's going to watch anything called Mobile Home Disaster on CMT. Sure, I'll do it. Who knows? Because again, reality was fairly young. So I did it and I fell in love. It had my improv. You mean I just get to be me, do what I do, my empowering work, my magical work. You're going to just follow me around with 3 cameras, no script, no memorization, do my magic. And yes, and we got real information and we helped this little girl. And I'm like, wow, this is fun, but no more. I can't do this because nobody's going to. So I remember after it aired, and my first corporate client, it was a bank I'd worked for nationally all the time. We'd fly my cast, and she goes, I saw you on TV last night. I'm like, oh God, I'll never work for whatever bank again. And she's like, I didn't know you were into the paranormal. I love the paranormal. We had our best conversation ever. It didn't kick me out of whatever, but all of a sudden I was thrust into this new world of, again, I'm in Hollywood. I'm known in the business to some extent, and I know camera work. I know television work. I'm legit at what I do. So I started getting called in for everything, and screw it. I am out of the closet. I am out of the broom closet. I was having so much fun with it. I became the go-to to call. And it was so, and I remember the first time because I speak and I teach, and again, whether it's motivation or whatever to whoever, I remember on the psychic witchy side, I was speaking at college. I do a lot of colleges. And I love it. I love young people. I do a lot of young people TV. I work with Awesomeness, which are high school age kids. And it's just, again, empowerment. You guys are magic. So, but I remember walking on stage, and I had drove to beautiful Santa Barbara, put up, and I just had to walk on stage with nothing. And they had all set it up. And I've done nothing for money in my life. I mean, I get paid, of course, but it's never been a motivation thing for me ever, not once. But right. I walked on this stage, and I thought for a second, I drove there, got a nice, and I was doing what I even passionately loved more, speaking and inspiring young people. And I go, I am getting paid exactly the amount for walking on this stage for 2 hours as I got last week for a show that I produced, where out of that same money, I paid 7 actors and 3 musicians. I printed the programs myself. I copied them myself. I folded them half. I did the costuming. I paid for a rehearsal hall, which we rehearsed in 3 or 4 times. I bought props. I costed them. I sewed them into the costumes. And now I'm just walking on stage.
Right.
Huh, this is kind of good.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is kind of good.
You were pulled in the right direction eventually,
Yeah.
you know?
And again, I still do the other and I love the other, but this really is my calling. This really is my passion. That was, you know, it was fun putting on the corporate guise of you only touch the elbow for so-and-so things, but now it's going into a spiritual level, not just corporate politics.
Right. Well, we're starting to wind down here, but I do want to ask one more question, and it's kind of a general question. If you had, based on your career and all your experience, and I know this is incorporating a lot of different aspects of everything, but if you had one bit of advice to give to the listeners on how to improve their lives, what would you say?
Follow your dreams. Don't give up on your dreams. And know that you are powerful. Know that you are powerful. And if you're not power, if you know that you have the power. And if you don't have the power, figure out who or what you gave it away to. Again, did you give it away to a partner, somebody else? Did you give it away to your own insecurities, fear, anger, belief system? And grab it back. Again, easy as you allow it or hard as you make it. Because you know, we can't control everything, where we're born, how tall we are, good circumstances, bad circumstances, health, but we completely control how we react to that thing, whatever that is, our life, how we're doing. We completely have control over that. And that's the 90%.
Awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, Patti, I want to thank you for coming on Paradelphia, but I want you to let our listeners know where they can pick up your books, where they can get in contact with you or any kind of any of your services that they might want to reach out to you for.
Please reach out. PattiNegri.com is the hub where it all comes together. My name, PattiNegri.com. From there, you can find I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of them. I have a YouTube page where I teach a lot of stuff for free. I am now teaching classes, really inexpensive classes on purpose, like $10, teaching kind of things from this book. This book you can get on Amazon. All over the world on Amazon. It's, again, you can have an audio copy or an ebook for $6, a copy, or in your door in a couple of days for $12. And I do seances, but yeah, PattiNegri.com, and from there you can get everywhere. Like me, follow me, friend me. I like people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Patti, I want to thank you very much for taking time out of your day to to talk to us and to come on Paradelphia. It's been a blast. I know we didn't talk about everything you've done, and God, like I said, it would take hours to do something like that. But I definitely would love to have you back on, another time to talk about anything else you've written or just about another topic that you're an expert in.
I would love to. You're a great host. Thank you. I had a blast.
Thank you very much. All right. Well, this is Patti Negri, and again, her book. Bring it up here one more time. Old World Magic in the Modern World, and it's as she said, you can find it on Amazon. You can probably find it in bookstores. Reach out to her directly to inquire about it or any of the services that she offers. And again, thank you very much, and you have an awesome night, and we will talk to you very soon.
Wow. Unmute your microphone. That was amazing. That was really, really cool. Like you are a rookie. You just got praise from Patti Negri of how awesome of a host you are and how great you are at this, and then you come back with your mic muted. That
you know what it was? You know what it was? I got so wrapped up in the interview. Like I did the interview 2 nights ago, but the stuff she was saying was so interesting. I got so wrapped up in watching it. I'm like, I forgot to mute my mic.
No,
but she's very cool. The thing I love best about Patti is she is all about empowerment and intent. Right. And I know, like, we've had Gene Durkin talk about this kind of stuff all the time on the show, but and she's basically saying the same thing. You have more influence and more power in your lives, whether it's money or health or your love life or whatever, than you think you do.
Absolutely. I tell people that all the time. I was listening to the whole entire. Now I'm muted. What? I thought you were going to say now I'm muted. No,
you weren't. I couldn't hear you for a second.
Okay. Yeah. But no, I tell people this all the time. Like, you have more control than you think. And it took me forever to kind of come to terms with the fact that you have more control and your outlook really affects your surroundings and everything. And I was listening to the whole entire interview, and I just loved everything she was saying, from her outlook on just chasing your dreams, doing what you want, but also changing your thought process and how you react to things. The whole thought process of you can't control how other people act or what they say, but you can control how you react to that whole scenario, and tackling that, and also learning that you do have the ability to do all these crazy things that you don't think you do. It touches me to a certain degree in a very special way. So I loved that. That was one of the best guests, in my opinion, you've had in a very long time. And hopefully next time you have her on, it kind of lines up, because I would love to be able to talk to her personally about all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I hope so. Yeah, she couldn't make it on a Thursday night right now, but we'll see how it plays out in the future. And I'd love to have her back on the show.
Amazing.
All right, so that is going to be the show for the evening. And we're going to wrap things up here. And again, I want to thank Patti Negri for stopping by earlier in the week. And again, you guys can go to Barnes & Noble, go to Amazon, look up her book, Old World Magic in the Modern World. And you can go right to her website, pattinegri.com. And like she said, she has YouTube pages and Instagram and all that stuff. And she's a very, very nice lady. She, if you have any questions for her, or if you want her services for anything, just reach out to her. She's more than willing to help, and just let her know you saw her on the show, and she was a great guest. I have nothing but praise for her. She is an awesome lady, and I hope to have her back sometime.
Absolutely. Amazing energy. I loved her energy.
All right. So we are going to wrap things up for this week, but we'll be back next week with an all new Paradelphia. But for Toxic Mike, for Patti Negri, who again we just had the interview with, I am Rick Pruitt, and we are out of here.